Engineers are saying smaller, you know, whatever you can do in every way, shape, or form, just get more products on there that are smaller. And in a lot of cases, they're saying larger too. Like, here's the sweet spot, but people are forgetting about the fringes. And so putting sizes on that show both ends of the spectrum really opens you up for anybody who's looking at those different applications. But it's neurovascular for sure is just become.
We see the large stuff moving faster than the small stuff.
Okay.
Like, that stuff will sell out in a week. You know, a large diameter compliant balloon used in GI or gastric or colon or other areas. Those I think those areas have been starved for innovation. So I think now the innovation is starting to come, and we're seeing it as we promote.
That's a really good insight. Yeah, everybody wants to be in just the sweet spot, but there's still a lot going on that people weren't necessarily being serviced previously, right?
No, and then I think the next wave is the ability to integrate technologies into the balloon. I mean, those are
very interesting.
Sensors and AI and heaters and circuitry. I mean, all that stuff.
Flex circuits.
We're getting that request constantly. So we don't have an offering on Chamfr today, because it's really complicated.
We should collaborate in this area, because we are looking at those technologies independently, but marrying them could be really good way to service the engineers.
Yeah, and I think there's probably an entry point that serves electrophysiology, right? And whether it's atrial fibrillation or some other, I think there's an entry point where if you can put certain circuitry that has certain functionality, whether it's radio frequency, microwave, cryo, I think there's really good opportunities to marry technologies with the balloon that make for that early stage prototyping to help just speed that process, because capital is really hard to get right now.
Right.
I mean, it's not, maybe a year ago it wasn't as hard, but it's really hard.
It's tightening up,
to raise capital. Even an early stage startup company, it's a 7-year regulatory process. Who wants to park $35 million and hope for the best? I think it's the guys that can bootstrap their way, and there's a lot of groups that are really good at bootstrapping through the early fringes of product development to really de-risk that investment for those venture capital, PE, angel investors, whatever path they're going to. So, I mean, I think that's another piece where we can work really closely with clinicians that are just staying up at night because they know every day they go in to treat patients, they face the same thing, that industry hasn't solved something.
Right.
And I think if they go through the process of filing a patent or just having a sketch of something that they believe will solve some clinical need right now that's being unmet, we're really, it's robust right now with just clinician entrepreneurs coming in, looking for ways to use that balloon in their novel, unique invention.
Yeah, well, this is, again, part of the vision for us as Chamfr founders was just being able to service the engineers at their point of need. And to your point, we were talking about this earlier, you don't need to cut your teeth on a $100,000 tool right off the bat for something that you don't necessarily know until you've had a couple rounds of, either benchtop or cadaver testing or whatever it is to find out if you actually have the functionality you need for go-to-market, right? So helping both the clinicians who don't have the business side experience or early stage startups who might get super excited at, Series A, but as we know, having been through it, that doesn't last you very long. And so you can blow through that money pretty quickly. Having a path and somebody sort of saying, hey, here's how you can iterate, here's how you can be agile in a cost-effective, super efficient way. Let's do this as many times as we need to, then come to the table and say, okay, now we're ready to really cut the tooling, go custom, go big, and you're then stuck there for a while, which is okay at that point, right? But how can you iterate quickly and in small ways before you get to that point so that you stay viable and you have the chances of being success and reaching commercial with the funding that you have?
That's what you guys are providing. You guys can provide all the pieces for that inventor to get a working prototype before he does Series A or whatever series he's at. So if he can find NIH grant money or some money through a local university and just kind of move it along the steps, it puts them in a much better position. And it's not going to, cash isn't going to get easy for med tech in the next 2 years.
No, and even the big companies are tightening up, and there's other supply chain issues. So it's like, how do you continue to innovate and keep moving these projects when you've got 52-week lead times, right? People are doing things differently. They're sourcing in channels they didn't used to. So it's the dynamics are definitely changing.